The morning sun filtered through the blinds of Lily Zhang's bedroom as she practiced the same passage for what felt like the 100th time. Her fingers moved across the piano keys with precision that came from years of dedication. At 16, Lily's life revolved around school, piano practice, and little else. She wasn't part of the popular crowd at school, and she was fine with that. Music was her true companion. Her mother called from downstairs, breaking her concentration. "Lily, phone call for you." Lily frowned. Nobody ever called the house phone for her. Her few friends always texted. She reluctantly left her piano and hurried downstairs, taking the cordless phone from her mother, who gave her a curious look. "Hello?" Lily said, tucking a strand of dark hair behind her ear. "Is this Lily Zhang?" The voice belonged to Mrs. Winters, the administrator at Westlake School of Music, where Lily had been taking lessons since she was 7. "Yes, it's me," Lily replied, her heart rate picking up. Mrs. Winters never called students directly. Was something wrong with her scholarship? Her family couldn't afford the lessons without it. "I'm calling because we have an unexpected situation," Mrs. Winters said, her voice carrying an unusual note of urgency. "Tina Reynolds has come down with mono and won't be able to perform at the showcase this weekend." Lily's breath caught. The annual showcase was the biggest event of the year. Conservatory scouts, local media, and music enthusiasts from across the state attended. Only the top students were selected to perform. "That's unfortunate," Lily said carefully, unsure why she was being told this. "Coach Harrison wants to know if you can step in." The words hung in the air. Coach Richard Harrison was the most demanding instructor at Westlake. His students won competitions and went on to Juilliard and other prestigious schools. He rarely took notice of students outside his hand-picked group. "Me," Lily squeaked. "But I'm not in the showcase group." "You were next on the list during auditions," Mrs. Winters explained. "And Coach Harrison remembers your audition. He thinks you might be able to handle it." "Might." The word stung a little, but Lily couldn't deny the flutter of excitement in her chest. This was the opportunity she'd been waiting for since she first sat at a piano. "The showcase is in 3 days," Mrs. Winters continued, when Lily didn't respond. "You would need to come in for intensive rehearsals starting this afternoon. Can you do it?" Lily glanced at her mother, who was pretending not to eavesdrop while washing dishes. The showcase was on Saturday evening. 3 days to prepare what others had been practicing for months. "What piece would I be playing?" Lily asked, already mentally rearranging her week. "That's something to discuss with Coach Harrison. But I believe Tina was scheduled to perform Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. Lily's stomach dropped. Rachmaninoff, one of the most technically challenging composers. She had been working on that very concerto for months, but it wasn't performance-ready. "Not for a showcase of this caliber. I think I can do it," Lily said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Wonderful. Be at the school by 4 today. And Lily, Coach Harrison doesn't offer second chances. Be prepared." The line went dead and Lily slowly lowered the phone. Her mother turned, drying her hands on a dish towel. "What was that about, honey?" Lily explained the situation, watching her mother's expression shift from curiosity to concern. 3 days? To prepare for the showcase? And with Coach Harrison? Her mother shook her head. "I've heard stories about him, Lily. He pushes his students hard." "I know, Mom, but this is my chance." Lily's eyes brightened. "Do you know how many people auditioned for the showcase group?" "And I was next on the list." Her mother's expression softened. "Of course you were. You're incredibly talented," she sighed. "Just be careful. Don't let anyone push you into something you're not comfortable with." Lily nodded, though her mind was already racing ahead. She needed to practice. Now. She rushed back upstairs, pulled out her sheet music for the Rachmaninoff, and sat at her piano. The concerto was beautiful but notoriously difficult. The opening alone required both technical skill and emotional depth. Lily placed her fingers on the keys and began to play, losing herself in the music. Hours passed in a blur. Before she knew it, her alarm was beeping, reminding her it was time to leave for Westlake. She gathered her music, changed into a simple blue blouse and jeans, and headed downstairs. "Don't forget to eat something," her mother called, handing her an apple and a granola bar. "And text me when you're done. I can pick you up." "Thanks, Mom, I'll be fine," Lily said, giving her a quick hug before heading out the door. The walk to Westlake took 15 minutes. Time Lily spent mentally rehearsing passages of the concerto. The butterflies in her stomach multiplied with each step closer to the school. By the time she reached the imposing brick building, her hands were trembling slightly. The school was quieter than usual when she entered. Most students had already finished their lessons for the day. Lily made her way to practice room C, where Mrs. Winters had told her to meet Coach Harrison. She hesitated outside the door, took a deep breath, and knocked. "Come in," a deep voice called. Lily entered the room, clutching her sheet music. Coach Harrison sat by the grand piano, scribbling notes on a score. He was tall and lean, with salt and pepper hair and piercing blue eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He didn't look up immediately. "You're early," he said, checking his watch. "Good." Lily stood awkwardly, unsure whether to sit or remain standing. "Thank you for considering me, Coach Harrison." He finally looked up, his gaze assessing. "You have potential, Miss Jung. Your technique during auditions was impressive, if somewhat unpolished." Lily tried not to wince at the backhanded compliment. "Let's not waste time," he continued, gesturing to the piano bench. "Show me where you are with the Rachmaninoff." Lily sat at the piano, arranged her music, and took a moment to center herself. Then she began to play, pouring everything she had into the piece. The music filled the room, the rich, complex emotions of the concerto flowing through her fingers. She wasn't perfect. She stumbled over a particularly difficult passage, but she kept going, losing herself in the performance. When she finished the first movement, she looked up to find Coach Harrison watching her with an unreadable expression. "Your technical foundation is decent," he said after a moment, "but you lack precision in the runs and your dynamics need work." He stood and walked to the piano. "The showcase is not a school recital, Miss Jang. There will be people in attendance who could determine your future in music." The weight of his words settled on Lily's shoulders. "Perhaps we should consider a different piece," he suggested, "something less ambitious." Lily felt a flicker of disappointment followed by determination. "I can do this," she said quietly but firmly. "I've been working on this concerto for months, with 3 days of focused practice." "3 days is nothing," Coach Harrison interrupted. "Tina has been preparing for 4 months. I understand that, but you think you can match that in 3 days?" His tone was skeptical. Lily met his gaze. "I can try." Something shifted in Coach Harrison's expression, surprise perhaps, or grudging respect. "Very well," he said finally. "We'll work with the Rachmaninoff. But understand this, I expect perfection on Saturday night. Nothing less." For the next 2 hours, Coach Harrison drilled Lily on specific passages, critiquing every detail of her performance. His teaching style was exacting and sometimes harsh, but Lily absorbed every correction, determined to prove herself. By the time they finished, Lily's fingers were sore and her head was spinning with all the adjustments she needed to make. "Be here tomorrow at the same time," Coach Harrison said, gathering his materials, "and practice the sections we discussed tonight. Every note must be flawless." Lily nodded, exhausted but energized. "I will. Thank you for the opportunity, Coach." He paused at the door. "Don't thank me yet, Miss Jang. The real test is Saturday night." After he left, Lily remained at the piano, replaying sections that had given her trouble. The school was nearly empty now, the hallways quiet. Through the window she could see it was already dark outside. Her phone buzzed with a text from her mother, asking if she was ready to be picked up. Lily replied that she needed more time to practice. Alone in the practice room, doubt began to creep in. Could she really do this? Was she setting herself up for public humiliation? Lily played the opening of the concerto again, listening critically to her own performance. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't showcase quality either. Not yet. She thought about Coach Harrison's suggestion to choose an easier piece. It would be the safer option. But then she remembered why she loved this concerto, how it spoke to something deep inside her, how it could move listeners to tears when played with true feeling. This was her chance to share that with an audience that mattered. Lily straightened her shoulders and placed her fingers on the keys once more. She would make this work. She had to. As she played into the quiet night, determination replaced her doubt. Saturday night would change everything. She just didn't know yet exactly how. The next morning, Lily's alarm went off at 5, though she had barely slept. Her fingers had moved across imaginary piano keys in her dreams, playing the same difficult passages over and over. She dragged herself out of bed, splashed cold water on her face, and headed straight to her piano before breakfast. 2 days left. The thought made her stomach twist with anxiety. Her mother appeared in the doorway of her room, still in her robe, coffee mug in hand. "You're up early," she said softly, watching Lily's fingers fly across the keys. "I need all the practice time I can get," Lily replied without looking up. "Coach Harrison expects perfection." Her mother frowned slightly. "Honey, no one is perfect. Not even professional pianists hit every note exactly right." "Coach Harrison's students do," Lily countered. "That's why they get into Juilliard and Curtis." Her mother sighed. "Just remember why you play, Lily. It was never about being perfect. It was about how it made you feel." Lily nodded absently, already lost in the music again. She practiced until her fingers ached, then rushed to get ready for school. The day passed in a blur. She couldn't focus on anything her teachers said. During lunch, she found an empty classroom with an old upright piano and practiced more, eating her sandwich in quick bites between passages. By the time she arrived at Westlake for her afternoon session with Coach Harrison, Lily was exhausted but determined. She found him waiting in the same practice room, a stern expression on his face. "You look tired," he said bluntly. "That won't do. The audience doesn't want to see a tired performer." "I'm fine," Lily insisted. "I was practicing all day." "Show me," he commanded, gesturing to the piano. Lily began to play, and immediately he stopped her. "Your tempo is off." "Start again." She started again. He stopped her again. "Your posture is slumping." Shoulders back. "Start again." This continued for nearly an hour. Lily playing, Coach Harrison finding fault, Lily starting over. Her frustration built with each interruption, though she tried not to show it. Finally, after a particularly abrupt stop, Lily couldn't hold back. "How am I supposed to improve if I can't play more than a few measures without being interrupted?" She regretted the words as soon as they left her mouth. Coach Harrison's eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me?" His voice was dangerously quiet. Lily swallowed hard. "I'm sorry. I just meant—" "I know what you meant," he said. "You think my methods are flawed." He stood towering over her. "Let me tell you something, Miss Jung. I have produced more successful pianists than any other instructor in this school's history. My students don't just play well, they play perfectly." "I understand," Lily said quietly, looking down at the keys. Coach Harrison studied her for a moment. "Play it through without stopping. Let's see what we're dealing with." Grateful for the chance, Lily took a deep breath and began again. This time she played the entire first movement without interruption. Despite a few small mistakes, she felt good about the performance. When she finished, she looked up hopefully. Coach Harrison's face revealed nothing. "Your technique is coming along," he said finally. "But there's still the matter of the third movement. The passages in measures 78 through 115 are particularly challenging." Lily nodded. Those were exactly the measures she'd been struggling with. "I've had students who simply couldn't master those sections," he continued, "even with months of preparation." He paused, seeming to weigh his next words carefully. "There are alternatives." "Alternatives?" Lily repeated, confused. Coach Harrison walked to the door and closed it quietly. When he turned back, his voice was lower. "The showcase is about impressions, Miss Jang. About giving the audience and the scouts what they expect." Something in his tone made Lily uncomfortable. "Sometimes," he continued, "when a student isn't quite ready, we make certain adjustments." "What kind of adjustments?" Lily asked, though she was beginning to suspect. Coach Harrison moved to a cabinet in the corner of the room and retrieved a small device. "This is a playback system. Very high quality. Undetectable when done properly." Lily stared at him. "You mean a recording?" "Think of it as an insurance policy," he said smoothly. "You would play the easier sections live. For the most technically demanding passages, you would simply move your hands while the recording plays. The audience never knows the difference." "But that's—" Lily stopped herself from saying cheating. "That's not really me playing." "Does it matter?" Coach Harrison countered. "The scouts will be impressed. You'll receive offers. Your future will be secured. Has anyone else done this?" Lily asked, still shocked. Coach Harrison smiled thinly. "Let's just say you wouldn't be the first. Music is as much about performance as it is about playing." Lily's mind raced. The prestigious Westlake Showcase. Coach Harrison's star students who always performed flawlessly. Had they all used this insurance policy? "I don't know," she said hesitantly. "It doesn't seem right, right?" Coach Harrison's smile faded. Do you know who will be attending this showcase? Representatives from Juilliard, Curtis, and Peabody. People who could give you a full scholarship, who could ensure your future in music. He let that sink in before continuing. And do you know what they'll do if you stumble through Rachmaninoff? They'll forget about you before they reach their cars. The weight of his words pressed down on Lily. A full scholarship would change everything for her family. Her parents had sacrificed so much for her lessons already. Think about it, Coach Harrison said, placing the device on the piano. We'll make the recording tomorrow. You'll practice moving your hands to match it. By Saturday, no one will be able to tell the difference. He gathered his belongings. I expect your decision at our session tomorrow. Either way, be prepared to work harder than you ever have. After he left, Lily remained at the piano, her fingers resting lightly on the keys. The small black device sat beside her sheet music. Innocuous, yet somehow menacing. Was this why Coach Harrison's students always performed perfectly? Were they all just pretending? Lily played a few notes softly, thinking. If she refused the device, she risked embarrassing herself at the biggest performance of her life. If she used it, she'd be living a lie. She thought about what her mother had said that morning. Remember why you play. Why did she play? For the joy of it, certainly. For the way music made her feel alive, but also for the recognition, for the chance at a better future. Lily picked up the device, turning it over in her hands. Then she placed it back on the piano and began to practice again, focusing on the difficult passages, playing them slowly, deliberately, over and over. Hours passed. The school grew quiet around her. When she finally checked her phone, she saw 3 missed calls from her mother and a string of increasingly worried texts. Sorry, Mom, she texted back, lost track of time. Heading home now. On the walk home, the cool evening air cleared Lily's head somewhat. She thought about what Coach Harrison had proposed. Part of her was offended that he thought she needed to fake her performance. Another part was terrified he was right. Her mother was waiting up when she got home, concern etched on her tired face. Lily, it's nearly 10. You need to rest. I know, Mom, I'm sorry. I just got caught up practicing. Her mother studied her face. Did something happen? You look upset, Lily hesitated. She wanted to tell her mother everything. About the device, about Coach Harrison's insurance policy, about her fears. But her mother had worked a double shift that day. She was exhausted, and Lily didn't want to burden her with this. Just nervous about Saturday, Lily said instead. There's so much to learn in so little time. Her mother hugged her. You'll be wonderful, whatever happens. Now get some sleep. Lily tried to follow her advice, but sleep eluded her. Her mind kept returning to Coach Harrison's words. The scouts will forget about you before they reach their cars. Was he right? Would one performance really determine her entire future? And if it might, wasn't using the device the smart choice? The next day at school was even worse than the previous one. Lily couldn't concentrate at all. During her free period, she found herself wandering to the music room, where a few students were practicing for various recitals. One of them, a boy named David who played violin, noticed her hovering in the doorway. Hey, Lily, heard you're filling in at the showcase. That's huge, Lily managed to smile. Yeah, huge. Coach Harrison is tough, huh? David said, setting down his violin. He made my friend Alex cry once during a lesson. He's intense, Lily agreed, sitting next to David on the bench. But he gets results. David lowered his voice. You know what they say about his students, right? How they never make mistakes. Lily's heart skipped a beat. What do they say? David glanced around, then leaned closer. Just rumors. But some people think something's off. Nobody plays that perfectly, especially not teenagers under pressure. So others had noticed too. Maybe they're just really good, Lily suggested, testing his reaction. David shrugged. Maybe, or maybe Coach Harrison has some special trick. He picked up his violin again. Anyway, good luck on Saturday. Most of us are coming to watch. The conversation left Lily even more conflicted as she headed to Westlake that afternoon. When she arrived at the practice room, Coach Harrison was already there, the playback device set up and connected to speakers. Have you made your decision? He asked without preamble. Lily took a deep breath. Everything in her wanted to say no, to prove she could do this on her own. But fear kept her silent. I think I'll try it, she said finally, the words feeling foreign in her mouth. Coach Harrison nodded, unsurprised. A wise choice. Now let's make a recording that will impress those scouts. For the next 3 hours, they worked on recording the difficult passages. Coach Harrison was meticulous, making Lily replay sections until they were exactly right. Then they practiced with the playback, Lily moving her hands over the keys while the recording played through the speakers. Keep your movements precise, Coach Harrison instructed. Match your fingering to the notes they're hearing. The audience will be watching your hands. By the end of the session, Lily felt physically and emotionally drained. This wasn't how she had imagined her big break would feel. It felt hollow, like she was cheating not just the audience but herself. We'll practice with the system once more tomorrow, Coach Harrison said as they finished. Then Saturday you'll give the performance of your life. He smiled, seeming genuinely pleased. You've made the right decision, Miss Zhang. This is how careers are built. As Lily packed up her sheet music, she wondered if that were true. Or was this how lies were built, one small deception at a time? Lily barely slept that night. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw herself on stage, pretending to play while a recording did the work. She imagined the audience applauding, the scouts approaching with scholarship offers, all based on a lie. By morning, dark circles had formed under her eyes. Her mother noticed immediately at breakfast. "Honey, you look exhausted," she said, placing a plate of eggs in front of Lily. "Maybe you should take a break today. One day of rest won't hurt." "I can't," Lily said, pushing the eggs around with her fork. "The showcase is tomorrow." Her mother sat across from her, concern etched on her face. "This showcase means a lot to you, doesn't it?" Lily nodded, unable to meet her mother's eyes. The weight of what she had agreed to do pressed heavily on her shoulders. "You know," her mother said gently, "when I was about your age, I had a big test in my advanced math class. I hadn't studied enough and I was terrified of failing." Lily looked up, surprised. Her mother rarely talked about her school days. "I wrote some formulas on a tiny piece of paper," her mother continued. "Hid it in my sleeve during the test." "You cheated?" Lily couldn't hide her shock. Her mother nodded. "I did. And I got caught." She smiled ruefully at the memory. "The teacher didn't fail me, though. Instead, she made me tutor younger students in math for the rest of the semester." "That doesn't sound so bad," Lily said. It wasn't. In fact, it changed everything for me. I discovered I was actually good at explaining math to others. It gave me confidence I never had before. Her mother reached across the table and took Lily's hand. "But I still regret cheating. Not because I got caught, but because I never got to find out if I could have passed that test on my own." Lily swallowed hard, wondering if her mother somehow knew what was troubling her. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I see how much pressure you're putting on yourself for this showcase, and I want you to remember that how you do something matters just as much as what you achieve." Her mother squeezed her hand. "Whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to be proud of yourself." The words settled in Lily's chest like a stone. How could she be proud if she was faking her performance? At school, Lily went through the motions, barely registering what was happening in her classes. During lunch, she found herself drawn once again to the music room. This time it was empty. She sat at the old upright piano, running her fingers lightly over the keys without pressing them. Then she began to play the Rachmaninoff concerto, the real thing, not pretending. She played through the difficult passages slowly, concentrating on each note. A sound at the door made her look up. The school's music teacher, Mrs. Chen, was watching her. "That's beautiful, Lily," she said, entering the room. "I heard you're performing at the Westlake Showcase tomorrow." "Quite an honor." "Thank you," Lily said, embarrassed to be caught practicing. Mrs. Chen sat on a nearby chair. "I've always loved how you play. There's something genuine about it." "Genuine?" Lily repeated. "Yes. Many young pianists focus solely on technical perfection. But you..." Mrs. Chen smiled warmly. "You play with your heart. I can feel the emotion in every note." Lily's eyes stung with unexpected tears. What if my technique isn't perfect? What if I make mistakes?" "Then you make mistakes," Mrs. Chen said simply. "That's part of being human. Part of live performance." She leaned forward. "You know, some of the most memorable performances I've ever seen included mistakes. But I remember them because the musician played with such passion that it didn't matter." The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch. Mrs. Chen stood to leave but paused at the door. "Good luck tomorrow, Lily. Play from your heart and you can't go wrong." Lily remained at the piano for a few minutes after Mrs. Chen left. "Play from your heart." The words echoed in her mind as she gathered her things and headed to her next class. That afternoon, she arrived at Westlake for her final rehearsal with Coach Harrison. He was already in the practice room, the playback system set up and ready. "There you are," he said, checking his watch. "Let's not waste time. We'll run through the entire piece today with the recording for the difficult sections." Lily placed her sheet music on the piano but remained standing. "Actually, Coach Harrison, I've been thinking." Something in her tone made him look up sharply. "Yes?" "I don't want to use the playback system," Lily said, the words coming out in a rush. Coach Harrison's expression darkened. "Excuse me? I want to play the piece myself. All of it." "We've been through this, Miss Zhang," he said, his voice dangerously quiet. "The third movement—" "I know it's difficult," Lily interrupted. "And I might not play it perfectly. But at least it will be me playing." Coach Harrison stared at her for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was cold. "Do you understand what's at stake here? This isn't some school recital. There will be scouts from top conservatories in that audience." "I understand," Lily said, forcing herself to meet his gaze. "And you're willing to throw away your chance at a scholarship? Your future?" Coach Harrison shook his head in disgust. "I thought you were smarter than this." His words stung, but Lily stood her ground. "I just want to play honestly." "Honestly?" Coach Harrison laughed, a sharp, unpleasant sound. "The music world isn't about honesty, Miss Zhang. It's about perception. About playing the game. Maybe for some people," Lily countered. "But not for me. Not anymore." Coach Harrison's face hardened. "Fine, have it your way. But when you fall apart on that stage tomorrow night, don't say I didn't warn you." He began packing up the playback system. "We're done here. What about rehearsal?" Lily asked, surprised. "What's the point?" Coach Harrison snapped. "You've made your choice. Now you can live with the consequences." After he stormed out, Lily sat alone at the piano, her heart racing. Had she just made a terrible mistake? Maybe she should run after him, tell him she'd changed her mind. Instead, she placed her fingers on the keys and began to play. The music flowed through her, sometimes smooth, sometimes halting when she reached the difficult passages. But she kept going, focusing on the feeling behind the notes rather than technical perfection. She lost track of time, playing the concerto over and over. Each run-through was different. Sometimes she nailed the challenging section, sometimes she stumbled. But with each attempt, her confidence grew. The light outside the window had faded to dusk when she finally stopped. Her fingers were sore and her back ached from sitting so long, but she felt lighter somehow. The decision she'd been wrestling with was made. For better or worse, tomorrow she would play as herself, imperfections and all. When Lily got home, her mother was setting the table for dinner. "How was rehearsal?" she asked. "Different," Lily replied truthfully. "But good, I think." Her mother studied her face. "You seem calmer." "I am," Lily said, surprising herself with the realization. The anxiety that had been her constant companion for the past 3 days had subsided. After dinner, Lily called her best friend Zoe to tell her about the showcase. She hadn't had time to talk to any of her friends since getting the news. "That's amazing," Zoe exclaimed when Lily told her about being chosen as a replacement. "But wait, isn't Coach Harrison super strict? I heard he made a kid quit piano altogether last year." "He's tough," Lily admitted, "and he has some unusual methods." "What do you mean?" Zoe asked. Lily hesitated, then told her about the playback system and her decision to refuse it. "Whoa," Zoe said when Lily finished. "That's messed up. Do you think all his students use it?" "I don't know," Lily said. "Maybe some do." "Well, I think you did the right thing," Zoe declared. "And I'm definitely coming tomorrow to cheer you on." "Front row." Lily smiled, grateful for her friend's support. "Just don't laugh if I mess up." "Are you kidding? I'll be too busy being amazed that you're playing Rachmaninoff. I can barely play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." They chatted a while longer before saying goodnight. Afterward, Lily felt even more certain about her decision. She might not impress the scouts with technical perfection, but she would play honestly from her heart. She slept better that night than she had in days, waking early on Saturday feeling rested and ready. She practiced for a few hours in the morning, then spent the afternoon getting ready for the evening's performance. Her mother helped her do her hair, twisting it into an elegant updo. "You look beautiful," she said, stepping back to admire her work. Lily wore a simple blue dress they had bought for a cousin's wedding the previous year. It wasn't fancy, but it was the nicest thing she owned. As the time approached to leave for Westlake, Lily felt the first flutter of pre-performance nerves. What if Coach Harrison was right? What if she fell apart on stage? Her father, who had taken the evening off from his second job to attend the showcase, seemed to sense her anxiety. "Remember, Lily," he said as they drove to the school, "we're already so proud of you. Just being selected for this showcase is an achievement." Lily nodded, grateful for his words, but still nervous. When they arrived at Westlake, the parking lot was nearly full. The showcase was one of the biggest events of the year, drawing not just families of students but music lovers from across the city. The backstage area was buzzing with activity. Students in formal attire warmed up or paced nervously. Parents fussed over clothing and hair. Teachers gave last-minute advice. Coach Harrison was there, speaking intently to one of his regular students. He saw Lily but made no move to approach her. Mrs. Winters, the administrator who had called Lily with the news just 3 days ago, hurried over. "There you are, Lily. You're on fourth after the violinist. Are you ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be," Lily replied with a small smile. "Coach Harrison mentioned there was a change of plans regarding your performance," Mrs. Winters said carefully. "So he had told the administration she wouldn't be using the playback system. Yes, I'll be playing the concerto myself. All of it." Mrs. Winters looked surprised but pleased. "Well, good for you. That's quite an undertaking." She patted Lily's arm. "The house is nearly full. Lots of important people out there tonight." As Mrs. Winters rushed off to deal with another issue, Lily found a quiet corner to sit and center herself. She closed her eyes, mentally running through the concerto, feeling the music in her fingers. A voice broke into her thoughts. "Decided to be a hero, did you?" Lily opened her eyes to find Coach Harrison standing over her, his expression unreadable. "Not a hero," she said quietly. "Just myself." He studied her for a long moment. "Well, Miss Zhang, I hope yourself is ready for what's coming. The audience isn't going to lower their expectations because you've decided to be authentic." Before Lily could respond, the showcase began. The first performer, a flautist, took the stage to polite applause. As Lily listened to the performances that followed, her heart pounded harder with each passing minute. Soon it would be her turn. Soon she would face the audience, the scouts, and her truth. When the violinist finished his piece, Mrs. Winters announced a brief intermission. 10 minutes, and then Lily would take the stage. She stood, smoothed her dress, and took a deep breath. Whatever happened next, she would play with her whole heart. The backstage area was a flurry of activity during the intermission. Students whispered good luck to each other, teachers gave last-minute advice, and stagehands prepared for the second half of the showcase. Through it all, Lily sat quietly, eyes closed, hands resting in her lap. Her parents found her there, her mother carrying a small bouquet of daisies. "These are for after your performance," she said, kissing Lily's forehead. "How are you feeling?" "Nervous," Lily admitted. "But okay." Her father squeezed her shoulder. "We'll be right in the front row, cheering you on." As they left to return to their seats, Lily caught a glimpse of the audience through the curtain. The auditorium was packed. She spotted Zoe waving excitedly from near the front. Several rows back, she noticed a group of well-dressed adults with programs open on their laps. The scouts from various conservatories. Her stomach tightened. In just a few minutes, she would be playing for them. No recording to save her, just her own fingers on the keys. Mrs. Winters appeared, clipboard in hand. 2 minutes, Lily. Are you ready?" Lily nodded, standing and smoothing her dress one last time. "Break a leg," Mrs. Winters said with a warm smile. "And remember, just breathe." The stage lights seemed impossibly bright as Lily walked to the grand piano. The audience applauded politely. She took a moment to adjust the bench, her hands trembling slightly. Then she looked up. From the wings, she could see Coach Harrison watching, arms crossed, his expression grim. He clearly expected her to fail. Behind him, several of his students huddled together, whispering. Lily looked away, focusing instead on her parents in the front row. Her mother gave her an encouraging nod. Her father smiled proudly. Beside them, Zoe flashed a thumbs up. Taking a deep breath, Lily placed her hands on the keys. The auditorium fell silent, hundreds of people waiting for her to begin. In that moment of perfect quiet, a strange calm washed over her. Whatever happened next, she would be playing her truth. She pressed down on the first chord of Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. The sound filled the auditorium, rich and resonant. Lily closed her eyes briefly, letting the music flow through her. She opened them again and continued playing, focusing on each note, each phrase. The first movement unfolded beautifully. Lily's fingers found the keys with precision, the hours of practice paying off. The emotional pull of the piece carried her forward, and she found herself smiling slightly as she played. In the wings, Coach Harrison's frown deepened. This wasn't what he had expected. The girl was playing well, too well. The second movement began more contemplative than the first. Lily swayed gently with the music, losing herself in the melody. The audience sat rapt, many leaning forward in their seats. And then came the third movement, the part with those difficult passages that had worried her so much. Lily took a deep breath and plunged in, her fingers flying across the keys. For a while it went smoothly. Then, approaching measure 87, one of the trickiest sections, Lily felt her confidence waver. Her tempo slowed fractionally as she navigated the complex runs. In the wings, Coach Harrison leaned forward, a hint of satisfaction crossing his face. Here it comes, he thought. The moment she falls apart. Lily hit a wrong note. Then another. The beautiful flow of music stumbled. She could feel her face growing hot with embarrassment, could sense the change in the audience's attention, from admiration to concern. For a terrible moment, Lily froze, her fingers hovering over the keys. The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. From the front row, her mother mouthed, "Keep going." Lily blinked back sudden tears and placed her hands back on the keys. She picked up where she had left off more slowly than before. This time she didn't try to rush through the difficult passage. Instead, she played it at a pace she could manage, focusing on the feeling behind the notes rather than perfect execution. It wasn't what Rachmaninoff had written. It wasn't what she had practiced. But it was honest, and somehow it worked. As Lily moved past the difficult section and into more familiar territory, her confidence returned. The music swelled again, filling the auditorium. She wasn't playing perfectly. There were missed notes, slight hesitations, but she was playing with her whole heart. In the audience, an older man in a suit nodded appreciatively, making a note in his program. Near the back, a woman wiped away a tear. As Lily approached the concerto's powerful conclusion, she felt something she hadn't expected. Joy. Pure, simple joy in the act of creating music. Not for the scouts or the audience or even Coach Harrison, but for herself. The final chords resonated through the hall, and Lily lifted her hands from the keys. For a moment, there was complete silence. Then the audience erupted in applause. Lily stood, somewhat shakily, and bowed. Her eyes found her parents, both clapping wildly, her mother wiping away tears. Zoe was on her feet, cheering. As the applause continued, Lily's gaze drifted to the wings. Coach Harrison stood motionless, his expression unreadable. Behind him, his students were whispering again, some looking confused, others impressed. Lily bowed once more and walked off stage, her heart still racing. In the relative dimness of the wings, she let out a long breath. She had done it, not perfectly, but honestly. Mrs. Winters was the first to reach her. "Lily, that was wonderful," she exclaimed, giving her a quick hug. "But I made mistakes," Lily said, still catching her breath. "In the third movement." "Yes, and then you recovered beautifully," Mrs. Winters said. "That's what live performance is about. Not just playing the notes, but connecting with the music even when things go wrong." Other performers stopped by to congratulate her as they prepared for their own pieces. Even some of Coach Harrison's students offered quiet words of praise. "That was really good," one boy said, glancing over his shoulder to make sure Coach Harrison wasn't listening, "especially how you handled that hard part. I would have just stopped." Lily smiled her thanks, surprised by their kindness. Maybe some of them were also questioning Coach Harrison's methods. As she watched the remaining performances, Lily found herself more relaxed than she'd been in days. She had faced her fear and played from her heart. Whatever the scouts thought, whatever Coach Harrison said, she could be proud of that. After the final performer, there was a brief reception in the school lobby. Students, parents, and scouts mingled, enjoying refreshments and discussing the performances. Lily's parents found her immediately, both beaming with pride. "You were magnificent," her father said, hugging her tightly. "Even when I messed up?" Lily asked. Especially then, her mother said. The way you kept going, that showed real musicianship. Zoe bounded over, nearly spilling her punch in excitement. Lily, you were amazing. I got goosebumps. As they chatted, Lily noticed several people looking her way and whispering. Had her mistakes been that obvious? Had she embarrassed herself after all? Then an older man approached, one of the conservatory scouts she had noticed earlier. Miss Jang? He said, extending his hand. I'm Professor Wilson from the Eastman School of Music. I wanted to compliment you on your performance tonight. Lily shook his hand, hardly believing what she was hearing. Thank you, sir. Rachmaninoff is ambitious for someone your age, he continued. Most students wouldn't attempt it. It was a last-minute substitution, Lily explained. I only had 3 days to prepare. Professor Wilson's eyebrows shot up. 3 days? That's even more impressive. He pulled a card from his pocket and handed it to her. We should talk about your plans after high school. Eastman is always looking for pianists with your kind of authenticity. As he moved away to speak with other students, Lily stared at the card in her hand. Had that really just happened? Over the next half hour, 2 more scouts approached her, one from Oberlin Conservatory and another from Peabody. Both expressed interest in her playing, particularly the emotion she had conveyed. Neither seemed bothered by the mistakes in the third movement. Technical precision can be taught, the woman from Peabody told her, but the ability to connect with the music, to move an audience even when things aren't perfect, that's much rarer. Lily was still processing these conversations when she spotted Coach Harrison across the room, surrounded by his regular students. He caught her eye but made no move to approach her. Instead, it was Mrs. Winters who came over, smiling broadly. Lily, you've caused quite a stir. I've had 3 scouts asking about you. She lowered her voice. Coach Harrison seems a bit put out. I think he expected you to fail without his assistance, so Mrs. Winters knew about the playback system. Lily wondered how many others did too. Will I be in trouble? Lily asked. For not using it? Mrs. Winters laughed. Trouble? Quite the opposite. The board has been concerned about some of Coach Harrison's methods for a while. We just didn't have proof. She patted Lily's arm. Don't worry about that now. This is your night. Enjoy it. As the reception began to wind down, Lily found herself standing near the refreshment table, watching Coach Harrison. He was speaking with a parent, gesturing emphatically, probably explaining away some student's imperfect performance. Making a sudden decision, Lily walked over to him. His eyes narrowed when he saw her approaching. Miss Jang, he said coldly when the parent had moved away. Come to gloat? No, Lily said, keeping her voice steady. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to perform tonight. Coach Harrison studied her face, looking for sarcasm. Finding none, he seemed momentarily at a loss for words. You played better than I expected, he admitted finally. Though the third movement had some mistakes, Lily finished for him. I know, but it was real. Something flickered across Coach Harrison's face. Uncertainty, perhaps, or a glimpse of regret. The music world isn't always kind to real, Miss Jang. Maybe it should be, Lily said simply. Then she added, 3 scouts gave me their cards tonight. She hadn't meant it as a boast, just a statement of fact. But Coach Harrison's expression hardened again. Luck, he said dismissively. Or perhaps they were impressed by your dramatic recovery. Maybe, Lily agreed, refusing to be provoked. Or maybe they appreciated hearing someone play with genuine feeling, even if it wasn't technically perfect. Coach Harrison had no response to that. After an awkward moment, he excused himself to speak with another student, leaving Lily alone by the refreshment table. As she watched him walk away, Lily felt no anger, just a strange sort of pity. Coach Harrison was trapped in his own deception, never knowing if his students' successes were real or manufactured. Her parents found her then, ready to head home. As they walked to the car, her father draped his arm around her shoulders. Proud of you, kiddo. Thanks, Dad, Lily said, leaning into his embrace. I'm pretty proud of me, too. The morning after the showcase, Lily woke to sunlight streaming through her curtains. For a moment, she wondered if it had all been a dream. The performance, the mistakes, the scouts with their business cards. But the memory was too vivid, too real. She reached for her phone on the nightstand and found a flood of messages. Zoe had sent a series of excited texts, followed by a blurry photo she'd managed to snap of Lily at the piano. Several classmates who had attended the showcase had also messaged their congratulations. Even David, the violin player from school, had written, "Heard you killed it last night. Way to show Coach Harrison." Lily smiled at the messages but felt a twinge of uncertainty. Had she really shown Coach Harrison anything? Or had she just been lucky that the scouts happened to value expression over technical precision? Downstairs, her parents were already having breakfast. They both looked up when she entered the kitchen, their faces breaking into proud smiles. "There she is," her father said warmly. "Westlake's newest star." Lily rolled her eyes but couldn't hide her pleased expression. "Hardly a star, Dad. I messed up, remember? And then you recovered beautifully," her mother reminded her, placing a plate of pancakes in front of Lily. "That takes real courage." As she ate, Lily's thoughts drifted back to the showcase. She had stood her ground against Coach Harrison's insurance policy and played honestly. 3 conservatory scouts had shown interest in her. By most measures, the evening had been a success, yet something still felt unfinished. The other students who used Coach Harrison's playback system, did they know there was another way? And what about future students? Would they face the same pressure she had? "You're quiet this morning," her mother observed. "Everything okay?" "Just thinking," Lily replied, "about Coach Harrison and his students." Her parents exchanged a look. "What about them?" her father asked carefully. Lily hesitated, then told them everything. About the playback system, about Coach Harrison's pressure tactics, about her last-minute decision to play honestly. When she finished, her parents were silent for a moment, processing what they'd heard. "I'm not surprised," her father said finally. "I've always thought there was something off about how perfect his students sounded. No one plays that flawlessly, especially not teenagers. The question is, what do we do about it?" her mother said. "If this is happening to other students..." "I've been thinking about that," Lily said slowly. "I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Some of those students might feel they have no choice but to use the system. But it's wrong," her father pointed out. "It's deceptive. Those scholarships should go to students who really earned them." "I know," Lily agreed. "That's why I'm going to talk to Mrs. Winters tomorrow after school. She already knows something's going on. Maybe she can help find a solution that doesn't hurt the students." Her parents nodded, respecting her decision. "Whatever you decide, we're behind you," her mother said, squeezing her hand. The rest of Sunday passed quietly. Lily practiced piano for a while, but found herself drawn to music she truly loved rather than competition pieces. She played some Chopin, then switched to a jazz piece she'd been working on for fun. Playing without the pressure of perfection felt liberating. Monday morning brought a return to normal life, or so Lily thought until she arrived at school. As soon as she walked through the doors, she noticed people looking at her, some smiling, others whispering to friends. David found her at her locker. "Hey, piano star," he said with a grin. "You're famous." "What are you talking about?" Lily asked, confused. David pulled out his phone and showed her a post on the school's social media page. Someone had recorded part of her performance at the showcase and shared it. The comments section was filled with surprised reactions and praise. "That's from right after you messed up and kept going," David explained. "People are impressed. Even Mr. Peterson mentioned it in music appreciation this morning." Lily felt her face grow warm. "Great, so everyone knows I made a mistake." "That's not the point," David insisted. "It's that you didn't give up. You kept playing and it was beautiful." He put his phone away. "Besides, there's a rumor going around about Coach Harrison's students using recordings. People are talking." The news made Lily uneasy. She hadn't wanted to start rumors or create drama. She just wanted to play honestly. Throughout the day, more students approached her with questions about the showcase. By lunchtime, Lily was exhausted from the attention. She escaped to the music room hoping for some peace. To her surprise, she found Mrs. Chen there arranging sheet music. "Lily," the music teacher said warmly, "I heard about your performance at the showcase." "Congratulations." "Thank you," Lily said, sinking onto the piano bench. "It's been a strange day. Everyone's talking about it." Mrs. Chen smiled knowingly. "That's what happens when you do something authentic in a world that expects perfection. It stands out." She sat beside Lily on the bench. "I heard rumors about Coach Harrison's methods, too." Lily nodded, not surprised that the news had reached the school. "I'm going to talk to Mrs. Winters at Westlake today. I don't want to cause trouble, but..." But other students should have the chance to play honestly too, Mrs. Chen finished for her. I think that's very brave. After school, Lily walked to Westlake with a knot in her stomach. She wasn't sure how Mrs. Winters would react to a formal complaint, or if Coach Harrison would be there. To her relief, Mrs. Winters was alone in her office when Lily arrived. She welcomed Lily warmly. I was hoping you'd stop by. I've had calls from all 3 scouts who spoke with you at the reception. Really? Lily asked, momentarily distracted from her purpose. Really, Mrs. Winters confirmed with a smile. They were very impressed. But I'm guessing that's not why you're here. Lily took a deep breath. No, it's not. I wanted to talk to you about Coach Harrison. About the playback system. Mrs. Winters' smile faded. She sighed and gestured for Lily to sit. I thought you might. What exactly did he tell you about it? Lily explained everything. How Coach Harrison had presented the device as an insurance policy. How he implied all his successful students used it. How he'd pressured her by mentioning scholarships and her future. Mrs. Winters listened carefully, taking notes. When Lily finished, she looked troubled. This confirms what we've suspected for some time. There have been whispers, but no student has ever come forward. I don't want to get the other students in trouble, Lily said quickly. Some of them might feel they have no choice. Of course, Mrs. Winters agreed. This isn't about punishing students. It's about ensuring the integrity of our program. She tapped her pen against her notepad thoughtfully. Would you be willing to make an official statement? The board has been looking into Coach Harrison's methods, but we've lacked first-hand evidence. Lily hesitated only briefly before nodding. Yes, I'll do it. After making her statement, Lily felt both relieved and anxious. What would happen to Coach Harrison? What would happen to his students? She got her answer sooner than expected. The very next day, Mrs. Winters called to inform her that Coach Harrison had been placed on administrative leave, pending an investigation. His students would continue their lessons with other teachers in the meantime. Several of them have come forward with their own stories, Mrs. Winters told her. Your courage gave them the push they needed. The news spread quickly through both Westlake and Lily's high school. Some students were shocked, others vindicated. A few of Coach Harrison's most devoted students were angry, believing Lily had ruined their chances at prestigious scholarships. One afternoon, about a week after the showcase, Lily was practicing in the school music room when someone knocked on the door. She looked up to find a girl she recognized as one of Coach Harrison's star pupils, Ava, a talented pianist who had performed at national competitions. Can I come in? Ava asked hesitantly. Lily nodded, surprised. She'd never actually spoken to Ava before. The girl entered and stood awkwardly by the piano. I wanted to talk to you about Coach Harrison. Lily braced herself for anger or accusations. Instead, Ava said, Thank you. For what? Lily asked, confused. For being brave enough to play without the system? Ava said, her voice barely above a whisper. I've been using it for 2 years. Every competition, every recital. She blinked back tears. I stopped believing I could play well without it. Lily was stunned. But you're amazing. I've heard you play. Parts of it were me, Ava admitted. The easier sections. But anything challenging, she shook her head. Coach Harrison said no one would accept me into a good program if I made mistakes. That this was how the music world worked. That's not true, Lily said gently. The scouts at the showcase, they were more interested in expression than perfection. Ava nodded. I know that now. Mrs. Winters has arranged for us to have sessions with a counselor who specializes in performance anxiety, plus new teachers who focus on musicality, not just technique. She gave Lily a small smile. I played without the system yesterday for the first time in ages. I made mistakes, but it felt real. After Ava left, Lily sat at the piano thinking about how one decision, to play honestly, had rippled outward, affecting so many people. She felt a mixture of pride and humility. In the weeks that followed, more changes came to Westlake. Coach Harrison resigned rather than face a formal hearing. The board implemented new guidelines about recording devices and performance practices. Most importantly, a new emphasis was placed on musical expression alongside technical skill. For Lily, life returned somewhat to normal. She still practiced daily, still attended classes, still hung out with Zoe and her other friends, but something fundamental had shifted inside her. She had discovered her own voice as a musician, imperfect but genuine. 3 months after the showcase, Lily received acceptance letters from 5 conservatories, including Eastman and Peabody. Each letter mentioned her unique musical voice and authentic performance style. None mentioned technical perfection. The day the last letter arrived, Lily sat at her piano at home, running her fingers lightly over the keys. She thought about how close she had come to taking the easy way out, to using the playback system and pretending to be something she wasn't. She began to play, not Rachmaninoff or any other competition piece, but a simple melody she had composed herself. It wasn't complex or technically challenging, but it was honest. It was hers, and in that moment Lily knew that no recording device, no insurance policy, could ever capture what mattered most in music: the human heart behind the notes, with all its beautiful imperfections.